Hey, I'm Kyle Bailey. I'm here to help you rank your painting company better starting today. So, the recent 2026 ranking factors were just released. And one of the top factors that they listed was open hours. Now, if you know anything at all about local SEO, this has actually been a factor for a while. But what I'm actually going to do, I've actually started this video at about 4 minutes until 5 p.m. Because if you look at these, what I did, let's go back one. So what I did is painting company near me, right? As we get down to the map, we see the sponsored, then the actual listings. And what I want to do is I want to go into more businesses, and we're going to do a little experiment today. What I want to see is how big of a deal the 5 p.m. closing time is, okay? Because what they're saying is if you show up as closed, then you will not be as likely to be returned. I don't think there's any idea being put out there that there's an absolute there. Like if you close at 5 p.m. at 5:05, you are no longer going to be shown. There's nothing that hard and fast. But what should happen is at least a few of these should drop off after 5 p.m. So we still have about 2.5 minutes left. Let's just take a quick look at these because there's a couple of things I think that are really valuable for you here. So Paint Easy of North Austin, open 24 hours. Now that might first seem odd. Who paints in the middle of the night? There are very few painting emergencies that would require me to pick up the phone and call a painting company. This is not the right shade of taupe. I need you here immediately. Probably not going to happen. But would you take a call in the middle of the night if somebody did have an emergency? If the answer is yes, put 24 hours on there. That's totally legitimate. Now, you see the next one, brush and color painting. That is closing at 8. So again, if you would take calls till 8 p.m., it's legitimate. And if it's true, which we're going to do a small sample size test here, if it's true, actually, I'm actually going to open up a few. If it's true that it drops off, then there should be a change in the ranking. What we're going to do now that it just occurred to me, we're going to test a few businesses. So let's go pest control near me. Let's go roofing company. Let's go flooring. Not flooring. Let's see. Plumber. Okay. 4:59. We still got time. So let's look at this. First of all, I want to see if the map stays the same inside and outside of the expansion. Okay. Yeah. So Plum Doctors, Cedar Park Plumbing, Leander Plumber. Plum Doctors, Cedar Park Plumbing, Leander Plumber. Now that one says closed, and they're on number 2. So that's interesting already. All right, so roofers, we got Best Build, Greater Austin Roofers, Roof Crafters. So we got Best Build, Greater Austin Roofers, and Roof Crafters. Okay, so that would stay the same. Let's try Pest Control. We had Lakeline, DM, and Osborne. Now, see, this one's different. This is interesting. I don't know what caused this, but North Shore actually shows up ahead, and they're not in the sponsored. This is a sponsored up here. So Lakeline, this actually changed when you expanded it into the more businesses. So how many times that happens, who knows? But at least it's notable. We're trying to measure what's happening, not necessarily probability of occurrence, right? We're not trying to measure how often is this going to happen. We're trying to measure what is happening. Because once we measure what is happening, and with this ranking factor, and again, as a reminder, what we're taking a look at is the open hours of a business and how that affects your Google Maps ranking. Okay. So it's 5:01 now. I'm going to give it one more minute, take a sip of water. A little parched. All right. So let's take a look back at our painting company. And what we're going to do is we'll refresh this page. And if the opening hours do weigh as heavy as it looks like it does, then we should see a difference in the refresh. So just put that out there. Let's see what we got. We got Paint Easy, Brush Color, D&W. 24 hours, closes at 8. This one says closes soon. This is what I wanted to see. What I wanted to see is if I leave it here, is it going to dynamically change? And it looks like it is not. So these pages that were loaded before 5 p.m., they're still showing the results as if it is still before 5 p.m. It's 5:01 now. So I'll talk briefly about just overall GBP optimization. The two biggest things that affect you are your reviews and the optimization overall of your channel. What Google wants to see is that you are using the account regularly. So uploading photos, telling the story of the photos, talking about your services, and a kind of, it's getting more popular now, but it's still very underutilized, which is to go in and list all of your services. And then after you've listed them, put a description on each one, and then take it to the next level by linking to a page on your website about that service. Okay. So that's two things. Ask for reviews, ask for them often. I know it's unpleasant, but you got to do it. You just have to do it. Okay. So that's one. And then two, you want to fill out all of your services. If you just do those two things and then regularly update your account, you're going to be ahead of most businesses out there. Okay. So let's do this. Let's refresh now. So we're 5:03, a good 3 minutes past 5. So any of them that should be that did close, hopefully what we'll see is a difference in the ranking. So brush color, D&W, 5-star, of course, they're 24 hours, but Painter 1 and D&W, CertaPro. Well, CertaPro is right there at number 4, so they probably won't change. All right, so let's give it a shot. Let's refresh and see what happens. And look at that, just like that, D&W fell off. Fell right off. That's interesting. That is interesting. So a little live test here. So you've got a closed one here, ranking highly already. They close at 6:30, close at 7, close at 11. Wow. Most of these folks are, this isn't going to affect us much at all. A lot of these folks are already listing as North Shore, Lakeline, and Massey. Yeah. But remember, this one was interesting because when I expanded it, the list changed. So that's an interesting return. Just in that you've got several people there that have the late hours on them. So they're probably already using this technique. All right. So now let's look at roofing company. You got Best Build, Greater Austin, Roof Crafters. Okay. All those are 24 hours. This is a 6 p.m. Elevation closes at 5. Okay, so let's just see if elevation stays there because the rest of them should not be affected by this. But let's just look at our list again. So we got Best Build, Greater Austin, Roof Crafters. Let's see if that order stays the same. Best Build, Greater Austin, and Roof Crafters. Those are the same. So yeah, the other one fell off. This is looking pretty consistent, folks. Remember there was one on there, I think it was, what was it? Elevation. Yeah. They closed and they dropped significantly. They were number 4, I think. And now they dropped all the way down. So this is a really interesting little test we're running here. I did not expect it to be this black and white, to be honest with you. All right. So we're going Plumber Near Me. We've got our sponsors. Okay, Cedar Park's already up there. Leander Plumbing. Macklin. If this stays consistent, Macklin and Excalibur should fall off. Okay? Macklin and Excalibur. Remember those two. It's interesting that Cedar Park is already showing as number 2 here. But then we've got Macklin and Excalibur. Remember Macklin and Excalibur. I can say that. I can speak. Cedar Park stayed up there. Now that's interesting because it was closed when it entered it. But now did Macklin stick around? Macklin did not. Macklin dropped all the way down here. Excalibur did too. Look at that. Look at that. So here's a little live test to show you that your opening and close hours matter. If you can, especially if you're a plumber, if you would take an emergency call, there's no reason you should have a close time on there ever. It's worth putting an answering service in place, paying a little more for that if you just don't want the hassle of calls yourself. Route it to an employee, make somebody else responsible for taking those calls. Unless there's just some real hard and fast reason you absolutely do not want, because it affects your rankings. You can see right here. Now, if you were one of these people, let's say Macklin or Excalibur, and you would take a call after 5 p.m., you can see how this is hurting you. You see? So even if you don't want to be 24 hours, if you would take a call up to 8 p.m. and route it to your people, you got to put at least 8 p.m. on your hours. So hopefully this helps you. This is real. This directly affects your bottom line. And if you're any business that would take an emergency call, you should have 24 hours on your profile. So again, hope this helps. If you need help, you can contact me in the description below. I've got some free tools for you. If you've got a team, or if you're, shoestringing this thing, and you just don't, you need to put the money into marketing, but you just don't have it right now, I've got lots of free tools for you. I'll even do a free assessment for you. I really have a special place in my heart for home service. Grew up doing it with my dad. And so I love helping the industry, any folks in the industry. So reach out to me. I'm happy to help any way that I can. And yeah, hope you have a great day.